Prince Institute. Exercise 152. Sir Happy Singh. Ready? Start. Mr. Vice Chairman, I am aware that my motion today to a great extent has become academic because the Assembly's term is expiring today, and even if President's rule is revoked, it has to be reimposed because the Assembly's life will no longer be in existence. But still, I have moved this motion because I am totally opposed to the President's rule in the state, and I feel that President's rule in Assam only will not be able to solve the problem for which the President's rule has been sought to be imposed, but the whole effort will be counterproductive. Sir, we must keep in mind that the President's rule had been imposed in the state when the Election Commission was fully prepared and had geared itself for the polls. President's rule had been imposed with hardly 40 days to go by before the expiry of the term of the Assembly. This has set a very dangerous precedent in the federal polity of the country. Up till now, in the entire country, the practice we followed was the opinion of the state government on the question of law and order was taken to be final. The central government never superimposed its own opinion and disturbed the periodicity of the election. I have been asked a question which I have failed to reply to the students, to the youths, and to the people of Assam, and the question is that in 1983, when the entire people of Assam in one voice said that election must not be held and efforts of election would lead to large scale killings, election was held and the record would show that according to the Home Ministry's own admission, 3,500 people were killed in the elections. According to us, the figure was more than 7,000. And when we confronted the government and the election commission as to how was it that in the name of democratic election 7,000 people were killed, because after all constitution is meant for men, men are not meant for the constitution. The answer was that on the question of law and order, it was the opinion of the state government which was final. It is also on record, Mr. Vice Chairman, that Assam election of 1983 was held on 2 days. After the first day's election was over, the Election Commission wrote to the returning officers and the state government that if in their view the second day's election would also lead to equal violence, to postpone the second day's election. But the election was held, and the Election Commission and the Government of India expressed total helplessness by saying that in these matters, state government's opinion was final. For the first time in the history of India, independent India, the periodicity of elections has been disturbed on the opinion of the central government that the law and order situation is not conducive for holding elections. Firstly, it is against the constitutional provision because the constitution does not permit imposition of president's rule, disturbing the periodicity of elections on the ground of law and order. May I ask, Mr. Vice Chairman, is it not a case that several times in West Bengal complaints had been made that the law and order situation was not conducive for holding elections there under the rule of the communists? In fact, wherever there was an opposition government, such complaints had been there. But it is for the first time that this sort of power has been exercised by the central government, which I am afraid will be followed in many subsequent cases. This sort of practice will be followed not only by the present government but by the other governments also, whichever party may come to power at the center. If the ruling party at the center is not favorably poised for an electoral victory, elections will be postponed and president's rule will be imposed. Now, sir, I do not want to go much into the past. Today, I am a worried man and I would like to look to the future. Let us remember that the people of Assam are nationalistic to the core of their heart. Sir, let us not forget that in 1962, at the time of the Chinese aggression, when the Chinese came to the border of our state, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru bade goodbye to the people of Assam. At that time, the people of Assam stood like one man to defend the unity and integrity of the country. At that time, the women of Assam unhesitatingly parted with their jewelry and gave it to the Jawans to defend the border of the country. In 1965, we took the brunt of the Pakistani attack. Again, in 1971, during the Bangladesh Liberation War, 1 million refugees crossed over to the northeastern region, and we, the people of Assam and other northeastern states, together bore the burden without any murmur because we knew that we must stand by them in such moments of crisis.